The Colossal Tussle Podcast, episode 8, and I've got 3 words. Ain't we great? It is I, KJ Big Bones Johnson. And to my right, it is... what are you this week? What are you this week? I don't know. You're the man of the millennium. You're the J2J.
The double J.
You are
Just John.
John. How's it going, my man?
Pretty good, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right. Episode 8.
Yeah, man.
Episode 8. It's punishment time.
How many do you have?
It's a punishment episode, all right? We're reviewing Saturday night's main event, the very first
debut
episode.
Yep.
Yes, back in all the way in 1985. 37 years ago, John.
Yep.
What were you doing 37 years ago?
Not born yet.
Fair enough.
Years from being born.
Surely you had some ideas percolating.
I don't know.
No?
No, my eldest brother wasn't even born.
All right. Well, you guys were a bit slow on the ball, but you made it. Got here. In the end, we're happy to have you. My brother at the time was not born. He was about a few months away.
Yeah. This is a low fucking years ago.
Seriously.
This was... God damn.
Many moons. Many
fucking moons.
Thank you very much for tuning in and joining us for this edition of the Colossal Tussle Podcast. We hope that you'll enjoy this episode. I know that I'm going to. And John, it's been a while, my friend.
Yep.
It has been a while since we have tackled the news of the world. The news of today, moving out of the 1980s, the 1990s, we're coming back into the Friday of 2022. All right, we need to discuss some news. We need to discuss what's happening in the wrestling world.
Yeah, a lot of shit happening in the wrestling world.
Exactly.
Very exciting times.
So... you have probably the biggest news that's come out of these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely the biggest news and one of my favorite news of the week so far. AEW, New Japan, they're hosting a joint pay-per-view, I think June 26th.
Yep.
Called Forbidden Door. You know, there's been speculations of it for, ever since AEW started. So to see it actually happen is, one of the biggest news of the year so far.
Certainly. And I think it's about time. This might be a little bit of a surge of momentum that AEW needs. I mean, they've been building like small step by small step. And they've got like a good crop of talent going with them because you gotta imagine there's going to be some ROH presence, as well as AEW, of course, and then you have the New Japan business. Like, they've got a pretty good crop of talent going into that battlefield in June. Yeah,
I feel like from a storyline perspective, both companies aren't at their peak at the moment, but just, based off talent and dream matches type of thing, that alone is going to, probably sell out whatever venue they put this in.
Yes. Well, it's supposed to be in Chicago. So
then that's
that's
a sellout. Right?
Yeah, they're going into their home base as far as I know. Yeah. And I don't know what's happening in New Japan. All right, I am an English-speaking gentleman. I am a man that watches the English-speaking wrestling. Okay, all of that Japanese, Lapanese.
Oh my God.
They're gonna come over here and they're gonna take our jabs.
Oh my God. No, but to be fair, I'm a fan of New Japan, and even I can say that not much is going on over there. Like, they're at a very stale place at the moment right now. Like,
Interesting.
even New Japan fans aren't really happy with the direction they're going. They're kind of trying to clean things up a little bit. So that's why I'm like, from a storyline point of view, there's nothing going on here.
Gotcha.
People are mostly excited for, you know, the all the dream matches that could happen, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. Do you have a dream match in mind? Is there something that you wish to see come to fruition?
Yes, I've been waiting for this match since, you know, since I was back in high school.
Okay.
Which is CM Punk versus Kenta.
Oh.
CM Punk, that, you know, his finisher, the go to sleep.
Of course.
Kenta also uses the go to sleep. So it's been a dream match for wrestling fans for years and years.
Yes.
And Kenta's even gone on Twitter after the announcement was made and kind of thrown some jabs at CM Punk. So hopefully he can take a break from the Hangman Page direction that they're going with.
Right.
And give us like that little dream match, especially since it's in Chicago.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be a huge match.
Oh my God.
I think that would be great. You have a lot of different things, you know. Hopefully, Kenny Omega is able to make a return by that point. Hopefully.
At least for just a match.
Yeah, something like that. It's because I mean, to have a crossover show of this magnitude, it would be odd. It would be weird without Kenny Omega making a presence.
Especially since he basically made his name over there in New Japan.
Exactly. So. He's got the highest rated matches.
Exactly.
The most, ridiculous star ratings of all time.
His tag team partner is still signed to New Japan. So it's still, so, you know.
And all the work that he's done here to make his name over in the Americas.
Exactly. And even like most of the times when they talk about him here in you know, North America and all that, they can't leave out his New Japan storyline. So it's like he has to show up even if it's for like a promo or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see the people that probably aren't gonna be like getting a look in. Like, I want to see what an MJF can do with a New Japan guy.
Yeah.
I want to see what a Sammy Guevara can do with a New Japan guy. You know, like I'm very interested to see, will there be any female presence? Will there be any female presence? This is something that you really got to think about here. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, probably not.
Right?
Probably not.
You know?
You know, again, maybe they throw in one or two, but
like, I sound really ignorant. Does New Japan have any women on their roster? Okay.
Usually they have to bring in from other promotions, but
maybe they will do that.
New Japan has no women.
Okay.
ROH, I don't think has any.
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to, but they haven't fully,
because they're working
built that division yet.
They're supposed to work with like Maria Kanellis in order to get some females.
And you know, AEW's female division isn't the greatest, so I don't think you want to bring any of those. Maybe like a Thunder Rosa or something, but I feel like the crowd that's going to a New Japan AEW show, I don't see any females that would interest them in going to, watching that, so.
I also kind of find it interesting that it's only going to be happening in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like the thing that I'm thinking of, because with this AEW New Japan crossover, like, it immediately takes my mind back to like the WCW New Japan shows. From way back in the day that used to take place on New Japan's turf, but they would also do shows on American soil.
Like do like a double.
Right.
Thing,
And I'm interested to see if this will be a one-off situation or if they will announce, hey, we're gonna actually go and do a New Japan event as well. We're gonna go across to Japan and have a.
Because I know that a lot of AEW wrestlers do show up in New Japan Strong, which is like New Japan's version of. Like, their American territory type of thing. So I'm not sure if they're using that as like the, hey, we showed up on your show type of thing.
Now you owe us.
Because even when, New Japan hosts like, American shows, I think they did one a couple weeks ago where Will Ospreay faced John Moxley. So I'm not sure if that's counting towards the deal or if there's still like a proper AEW New Japan show that's going to be held in Japan, because
Ospreay versus Sammy Guevara. Come on.
I'm telling you, the possibilities for great matches are. I don't even know how they're gonna fit this into like a one night thing.
That's what that's why I'm thinking, like doing 2 shows, one here, one there, might be in their best interest. But I mean,
because
this
there's
is
way
in its
too much
infancy.
talent to put.
Of course, yeah, because AEW bought everyone in America, and New Japan has all of the Japan
and parts of Europe.
So
it's like all the best wrestlers right now are kind of affiliated with either brand.
Yeah.
So there's so much shit you could do with this.
Yeah.
So much.
Incredibly exciting to speculate.
Mm-hmm,
and like, who knew that like 5 years ago we'd be talking about not only a huge American wrestling company, but not just a huge American wrestling company, but one that is now partnering with things like Impact, New Japan, purchasing ROH and having a merger with them. Like, they are creating this indie juggernaut. And it's doing what I think the NWA wishes it could have done.
Like sort of like Vince in his early days when he was purchasing just territories here and there and shit. So this is a very exciting time. I do think though it's starting to get a lot, like it's gonna become a lot on Tony Khan's plate.
Yeah.
Because just juggling one promotion is enough. So now also buying ROH, also doing this joint venture with New Japan. There's a lot of shit going on. If you've ever watched an episode of Dynamite or Rampage, they try to pack so much stuff into those episodes because they have such a huge roster and they want to give everyone, they don't want to have anyone in catering for too long. So there's so much. Like, I think I was watching Dynamite the other day and I walked up to go get a glass of water and missed like 30 promos and shit. So, he needs to figure out like a better balance for all his shit because it's starting to become a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he is starting to let the contracts of a lot of people expire now. And so I think he's starting to realize that he kind of needs to slow his roll a bit. But then he goes and acquires a whole new promotion. So out with 2, in with 30.
Exactly.
This is his time. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, and he's trying to, like, kudos to him for even trying to give everyone, like, some time on TV.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is way too much. This is way too much stuff. If you ever heard Excalibur kind of run down the matches for the week, like, you would swear he's about to pass out from talking.
He's damn near out of breath.
I'm telling you, man.
It's exciting stuff. We're waiting with bated breath to hear more. But I thought this would be a pretty good segue into another thing here. The always controversial, the always stirring the pot, trolling Eric Bischoff. For the half question, how do you feel about Eric Bischoff? Do you like Eric Bischoff now? Do you don't like Eric Bischoff?
I like Eric Bischoff because for most of the times when he does, go on his like Twitter rants or I think his podcast rants or whatever. Like, first of all, his podcast is great. Like, he gives really great detail of 83 weeks. Exactly. So he does give like really good insights on like the backstage stuff that went down back in the days. But most of the times when he does say shit, there's a little bit of, like, it makes sense to a point, right? So like, it's not like a Jim Cornette where it's just like hate for the fuck of hating, right? Like, he's just saying stuff to get under people's skin. Like, Eric Bischoff, when he says something, even though it might piss a lot of people off, it makes sense at the end of the day.
Well, that's a great point, because of what I want is to talk about this little nugget of information that he said on his podcast. He was talking a lot about the state of the wrestling business. He brought up Impact, saying that they were hardly in the wrestling business, which is
Again, harsh, but also true.
Including Impact in the conversation for televised wrestling is silly.
You gotta love it.
But the main point of discussion here, and because we, or at least I do, and I'm sure a lot of the wrestling community associates AEW quite closely with WCW and the way that they use it.
Yeah.
He says that AEW is flatlining in terms of viewership and in terms of quality and such like that, because they're staying at least 1 million to under 1 million. This past AEW Dynamite, as a matter of fact, drew in just under 1 million at about 900 and so thousand fans, approximately. So, yeah, I think it would be a good discussion point for us to have, seeing as we are both quite heavily AEW fans.
Yeah.
You are just a wrestling fan in general. Do you believe that AEW's quality, along with the numbers, are in fact flatlining, or are you saying that maybe you're jumping the gun here? Maybe you're presuming a bit too early.
Yeah, I think he's jumping the gun just by a little bit, though, because I do think that AEW is going through like a little stale period, but that's because they're every week they're bringing in a bunch of new talent, so from a storyline point of view, it's kind of hard to write all these storylines as you're also bringing in people. So I guess for the moment right now, with their storylines, it's a bit kind of stale, and it's kind of like a bit like he's a good wrestler, let's just put them together. But I feel like once, because I know Tony Khan did say that he's almost done purchasing talent. Almost. So hopefully once he gets the ROH situation and figuring out what wrestlers he's gonna send over to ROH, and once Rampage gets a little bit more stable in what wrestlers are going to be Rampage wrestlers, which we're already kind of seeing with Hook and Isaiah Swerve Scott and Team Taz and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think right now it's a bit stale, and it's a bit kind of fans aren't as excited as they were before. But I think this is just like a little low period, and they're going to pass it. Yeah. I think also what messes them up too is that and this is like a great problem to have, but also it's still a problem, is having these 5-star matches like at every one of their shows, because we saw during the Wednesday Night Wars or whatever
that classic period,
exactly,
that boom.
We saw NXT put on basically a TV pay-per-view almost every other week, and even they got stale as well, because once you're not building any storylines and you're just like, here's a great wrestler, here's another great wrestler, they're just gonna wrestle, sooner or later fans are just gonna be like, okay, but where's the where's the storyline,
where's the stories bit? Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, I find it very, very interesting to watch AEW at this moment, because I feel like they're expanding almost too fast. Yeah. And it's kind of the same as WWF back in the 80s, and WCW as well, when they purchased Hogan and then just started purchasing all of Hogan's friends. That they go through this period of aggressive expansion. But they wind up becoming quite stale at home base, which happened with WCW. Brought in all of Hogan's friends, got really stale, then the NWO, and that's like their saving grace.
Yeah.
And WWF to a lesser extent, because they were more capable at bringing in these talents and keeping fresh. AEW, on the other hand, I think. Other than, for me, the Blackpool Combat Club that's there, I'm not finding very much interest in anything else, because I think the quality of the show, wrestling-wise, is superb. But to your point, I think the story portion of it is a bit lackluster in a lot of different places. Some places they're bang on, as I say, the Combat Club and To a lesser extent, MJF and Wardlow.
Yeah.
They're doing pretty good as well. But otherwise, yeah, it's feeling quite empty. And I think they've got, Dark Elevation,
Dark.
Dark, the Rampage,
Yep.
AEW, Dynamite, whatever other show they fucking got.
Yeah.
To only have like a few, like 2 noteworthy storylines and the rest be kind of hollow is very concerning.
Because the thing with WWF back in those days, that they kind of were able to push past what AEW is going through and what WCW went through, is that when with WWF it was like, hey, these are our guys, these are our top stars,
yes,
we don't care who we purchase. These are our top guys. And sometimes it works, sometimes with the whole invasion thing, we saw it kind of like land flat on their face, but they stuck to their thing. They're like, hey, these are our top guys. But when you see AEW and it's like, you have Adam Cole, who was a champ in NXT. You have, a guy that was a champion in the Indies, a guy that was a champ somewhere else. And then you bring them all in. And now, you have Hangman as your main champ. And all these other champions are kind of like doing Dark and doing Rampage. A lot of the fans are like, damn, but I really loved him when he was. So, it gets very tricky. And I think there's suffering. I don't want to put this on Hangman, but I feel like if they had a better world champ, it would go over smoother, because people will be like, okay, Adam Cole was a champ in NXT, but Kenny Omega's the champ now, or whatever. But because it's Hangman, I think people are more like, hey, there's so much talent that could be champs right now. So they're in a very, very tricky situation.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that in regards to Hangman, having just started a thing with Punk, I hope that really does invigorate him. And CM Punk seems like a guy that would be able to get Hangman over, even if it results in Hangman losing the title.
Yeah.
Which, depending on our predictions down the road.
Again, there's just some wrestlers who are great at the chase.
Yeah.
But once they get the title, they're just not as entertaining.
Yeah.
I think we saw that with John Moxley when he was United States champion, I think it was. Like most of the times when he was chasing the championship, great.
Even
TV.
in AEW as well.
Exactly.
It was exciting but as soon as he became champion,
it's like, now what?
Yeah, he got hit with the pandemic, which wasn't very fair, but
and
even still.
Same thing with they did say that, Dark Elevation was supposed to be kind of like their third main show, which never actually happened, and it was just another, squash show. So and there was a couple of wrestlers that tried to make the best out of it when they got on Dark and tried to make little storylines and whatever. But the fact that like they have all this talent and only have a couple really good storylines, because I know people are gonna be like, no, but they have Jade and they have this and they have that. But I mean, like main storylines, they only have Blackpool Combat Club, MJF and Wardlow. And whatever they're planning on doing with the CM Punk Hangman thing. Other than that, like every other storyline is kind of like,
it's kind of like mid-card to lower mid-card.
Exactly.
And it just nothing of real substantial weight.
Exactly. Like the wrestling is still great. But other than that,
I think that's all that they're hanging their hat on, though. And I think whether we want to say it or not, they are still a sports entertainment company.
Especially if you want to, compete with Vince and all that stuff. It's like,
and if you want to do alternative, absolutely.
Exactly.
But you got a lot of sports entertainers. I'm just saying.
It's like how, how New Japan isn't like doing the whole sports entertainment thing. They're like, hey, we're strong style.
Exactly.
This is what we do.
That's been rooted in history.
Exactly.
Like, if I go to watch a New Japan show or put it on the YouTube, I'm like, okay, I'm not expecting a promo at the beginning.
Exactly. That's why even like when you have you have guys like Evil and his stable, when they interfere, it doesn't go over well, and not as in like heel heat, as in like, hey, we don't do that. We don't do that over here. Like, so, that's the thing that AEW has to kind of figure out. Are they going to be, the alternative, the more indie, more, this is like where you come to watch wrestling?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be sports entertainment? Because if you're going to be sports entertainment, then you're very behind right now.
Yeah. And if you are going to rely very heavily on wrestling, like, you have to make sure that your fucking stories are
telling
bangers.
a story. Yeah.
Like, they have to be bangers up and down the card.
Look at Hangman Adam Cole. They did the what?
You said Hangman Adam.
Oh, okay.
Adam
and Adam. There we go. Adam versus Adam. It ended in a Texas death match, which is supposed to be like AEW's equivalent of Hell in a Cell from back in the day, right? When it was like, if we get to this point, it's because nothing else works. And like, I was watching the match and it didn't really feel like it got up to that point.
Right.
Like, I was like, they're just doing this just to do this. But like, this feud never got to, I don't think stealing someone's belt, I'm going to put you through a flaming table full of thumbtacks or some shit.
It felt a bit like a ratings grab to me.
Like, again, like when WWE made Hell in a Cell its own pay-per-view instead of like a blood feud ender type of thing. So it's
don't
like...
even get me started.
So
fucking Red Cage. Good Lord. Yes, but good debate, good discussion. Jumping over quickly, WWE news. They're going to the UK, bitches.
Yep. They beat AEW to it. They're going to the UK.
Yes, they're going to this massive stadium in Wellesley. I think it is. Could be
Wembley?
No, it's not Wembley. It's not Wembley, because I would know of Wembley. Hang on. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to do some live on-air journalism. Okay, they're going to a UK stadium show not in Wembley, in Cardiff, Wales.
Okay.
And that's going to happen.
I have no idea where that is.
Wales has a lot of like funny name places. Like, have you ever seen like one of like the longest street names in the world?
No.
Okay, so it's like one of the longest street names in the world, and it's in Wales. And it's the funniest thing ever to see like regular human beings try to say it.
Yeah.
And then people that live in Wales try to say
it. Listen, all I know is that UK crowd, they've been dying for a fucking pay-per-view or a show or anything. So I feel like any show that they have over there is going to be packed. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a great fucking time.
And as well, opening ticket sales, they 59,000 approximate ticket sales. And I think it can seat like 79,000 or something like that, 80,000. So 59,000, like that's better ticket sales than that of WrestleMania for both nights.
And listen, I've seen a lot of boxing matches in the UK.
Yes.
And when I tell you those UK fans are
they're
different.
wild.
Bitches
are wild.
They are. So I really hope they finally get their pay-per-view and because that's gonna be a fun fucking time.
Absolutely. Drew McIntyre versus Tyson Fury. Yay or nay?
Yay. Yay, because Tyson Fury is a great fucking talker.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's just a natural born entertainer.
Yeah, then the bell has to ring.
Listen, just do a couple, headlocks or something.
Braun Strowman, did you see that? Do you remember that?
But think about the pop when Tyson Fury wins, and then he starts singing with the crowd or whatever he does at the end of his fights.
Christ almighty.
Think about the pop, Keenan.
And now it is time for what we have all come to listen to. your reactions to the very first ever Saturday night's main event. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one. I've been chomping at the bit. So, let's give the people some backstory.
Okay.
To Saturday night's main event, because the old K-Bones did some digging. Right? Did some investigative journalism.
That's what you're good at.
That's what I'm good at.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's right. Saturday night's main event was a strategic replacement to Saturday Night Live, right? On NBC. Executive Vice President Dick Ebersol saw the ratings for the MTV specials, which was the Brawl to End It All and the War to Settle the Score. That's the one with, that's the one
so
with
80s.
Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper. That was the predecessor to the first ever WrestleMania. The ratings of MTV's two specials did amazing numbers. So Dick Ebersol and Vince McMahon decided to strike up a deal, and that deal came in the form of a Saturday night's main event TV special. Okay. So on May the 11th, 1985, in the Nassau Coliseum, it was 8,300 fans packing the sumbitch. And the first ever ratings for the Saturday night's main event came in at an 8.8. Now, unfortunately, through all of my investigative journalism, I did not figure out what an 8.8 is.
I was waiting for you to, because I don't know shit about ratings. I'm like, wait, is this good? Is this bad?
I did my best, and I found the calculations, like how to calculate it and what they use, and it's far too fucking complicated for me. Just know that 8.8 is a lot.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because even when they do the ratings for WWE and AEW, I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
No. But needless to say, that 8.8 rating was the highest rating for Saturday night's like anything during that time period since the 70s and 60s and 70s of Saturday night's main event with John Belushi and whoever the fuck. So needless to say, this very first foray into Saturday night television was a success for them, mainly because the television shows at the time, the weekly TV, was it was on syndicated television most places, which means that it wasn't nationally televised. 2, the television programs that they did have featured mainly the stars in squash matches and promo segments. So things like Wrestling Challenge, TNT, which was just a fucking talk show. These were only things that were representing the one side of the, star things and with local Joe Schmo. Saturday night's main event was the first time on a nationally syndicated TV that 2 big stars were heading off face to face. So there's a little bit of nugget of information.
Not know that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's what I'm here for. So we're kicking it off with Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
Yes, Cyndi Lauper.
She's with Wendy Richter.
Yes, the current women's champion. Yep. And she's going to be defending the title against Moolah. All right, the fabulous Moolah. And Lauper is giving some tips and some advice in the opening.
Yeah, you can call that advice.
In the opening promo here, she says, the first thing you gotta watch out for is you gotta watch the hair. Because the Moolah likes to go after the hair. Okay? You gotta keep your trunk strong. And
I don't know what that means. I was trying to figure out what she meant by that. Because Wendy wasn't wearing trunks.
No, Wendy was just like, she was just listening to her. You gotta keep your trunk strong.
And then the greatest advice of all fucking time.
We're gonna do the band principle. Defeat, annihilate, and destroy. Amazing first 45
Holy
seconds.
shit. The whole time, I'm just like, this is the worst advice to give anybody.
Best way to start shit. Then we flip on over to the other side, the other 30 seconds, being given to Hulk Hogan and Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Hulk Hogan will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Cowboy Bob Orton. He has a very standard here, just hyping for 30 seconds. He's being the regular to that of Cyndi Lauper's batshit craziness.
No, this one was your typical Hogan promo. A lot of brothers, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Mr. T was there, so we got a little I pity the fool.
Pity the fool with Piper. If Piper gets involved, I'll pity the fool.
Pity him.
I'll pity the fool. And then, of course, we get the opening promo.
The most 80s thing I've ever seen.
Yes, the unfortunate thing about it is that it doesn't play the original theme song.
There was a different one?
Yes, and it was the fucking best. And we will be playing it for this episode intro. So don't you dare worry. Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon.
Young Vince.
Yes, they are on the desk for tonight. Before we head to the ring for our first match, we get a backstage, well, I mean, not even a backstage, at the entranceway interview.
Yeah, because for some reason for this show, all the interviews are done like right at the entrance.
Yeah.
For some fucking reason.
It was the same thing with WrestleMania as well. The first WrestleMania had Lord Alfred Hayes at the gorilla position, for lack of a better
term. Iron Sheik, George Steele, and Nikolai Volkov, they're in the ring.
That's right.
And then we cut to Mean Gene, who's with U.S. Express and Ricky Steamboat.
Yes, and that is Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda.
Yes, yep.
All right, and Captain Louis Albino, and he's warning the Blassie, all right, about an ass whooping should he get involved. All right, Blassie and Albano coming to blows on Saturday Night Main Event if you're not careful. All right, now John. We've come through that opening foray. Okay. You've had the promos, you've had the opening passages, you've had Jesse Ventura, Vince McMahon on the desk. You are sucked into 1985 in the best way. You are in the DeLorean, in the hot seat.
Yep.
How are you feeling right now? Are you fucking hyped?
I was not fucking hyped, but I was having a good time. So far, I'm having a good time. Real 80s shit.
Imagine, if you will, a 6-year-old me. Okay. I found this 6-hour VHS tape. Okay. I had just gotten through WrestleMania, where legitimately my favorite match on the card was Andre the Giant and Big John Studd just hitting each other for 6 minutes. Okay. And then when I thought it was over, it skipped for about 4 seconds. You know, it just did that bloop, 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 and then on popped this. Leilani Kai and Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter and Hulk Hogan. Mr. T I'd never even seen before. I never even knew Mr. T existed. Fucking Jesse Ventura in a pink outfit.
So as a young 6-year-old, you were losing your shit.
I was ecstatic. This is KJ's childhood in the best form possible. So here we go. Match number 1. It is the aforementioned U.S. Express and Ricky Steamboat taking on the tag champions of Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, along with George the Animal Steels. Albano in the U.S. corner, Blassie in the foreigner corner.
Before the match starts, Nikolai Volkov, if I'm butchering that name, I'm sorry. I do not know Russian.
It's fine.
He tells everyone to stand for the Russian national anthem. You know, his gimmick already.
Absolutely.
Halfway through, the Iron Sheik grabs the mic and he says words. I'm not sure if you picked up on any.
I did,
but
he
definitely said words. Something about Russia and then something about the U.S.
Yeah.
not liking it.
Specifically, Achte.
Yeah.
The thing that I noticed this time for the first time ever was that Iron Sheik's belt was actually coming apart. Like the metal piece.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the big plate was actually coming off of the leather, which I found amazing.
And right after that, we get the most American theme song in wrestling from the U.S. Express.
Also, not the original song.
What the fuck?
Yes, their original song, I shit you not, is Real American.
Wow.
Is Hulk Hogan's theme.
Really?
Yes, and Hulk Hogan was coming out to Eye of the Tiger at the time.
Okay, because this theme was fucking great.
Yes, this, I believe, is a ripoff of Bruce Springsteen's song, Born in the USA or something like that.
Listen, this song made me proud to be an American, and I'm Canadian.
You should be proud. America. Yes, very American, very patriotic. This was purposeful. And it is the Iron Sheik and Barry Windham to start. Mm-hmm. The Sheik tries to go for a cheap shot, a big punch, but it is blocked. Barry gives him what for? A hip toss and a body slam, and a tag to Mike Rotunda.
Yeah, the babyfaces do a good job of making sure Sheik stays in their corner.
Incredible job.
Yes, just, which is usually the opposite, but whatever.
Yes. It's a tag from Mike Rotunda to Ricky Steamboat. Both of them working with the axe handles. Ricky dragging Steamboat is working the arm, and then a tag back into Mike Rotunda. A double team move on the Sheik. Right? The Sheik then is managing to get back into it. He gets an abdominal stretch for all of about 6 seconds. Before he's hip tossed, and it's a pure 6 brawl, as the great Gordon Sully would say. All men are in, and then the heels have to take a powder.
Yeah, they gotta take a little. They gotta regroup.
They gotta regroup on the outside. They're being taken advantage of here. It is a top rope drop kick by Ricky the Dragon, followed up quickly with the flying crossbody. Nikolai Volkov breaking it up, and then the tag is made to Volkov. But Volkov doesn't have any time to get any offensive as Barry Windham is tagged back in.
Listen, the babyfaces were in control this entire fucking time.
I have it here. Like, good God, the fast pace of this 6-man tag, which is incredible coming from the Sheik, Volkov, and
the Sheik impressed because I don't watch that much of the Sheik. So I was really impressed with him being able to keep up with this pace.
Like, they all kept an incredible pace, which I'm extraordinarily impressed with. Finally, George not only breaks up a count by Mike Rotunda at one point, but then tag into George Steels.
Yeah.
And it is George Steels and it is Barry Windham going blow for blow.
They start trading shots.
Barry, hammers in George a couple of times. George goes to get a tag and get out of there, but the foreigners drop down. They don't want any part of it. George is a little bit confused, and then, oh no, a roll up and a 1, 2, 3. That is that.
And I like the match. I didn't like that finish.
No,
because they've been beating the shit out of the heels this entire time, and then you're gonna end it with the roll up. It's kind of just like,
not only that, but they rolled up the guy that was fresh. Like, George didn't take a single amount of punishment.
And also, if you see that his team leaves, you're at a 3-1. Why roll him up? Just take your time and beat the shit out of him.
Beat his ass.
But George then he's frustrated and he does his whole "I'm gonna rip the turnbuckle" thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's eating the asbestos. Volkov and the Sheik try to do a blindside, try to do an attack. George the Animal Steels, though, hot fire, just takes them both out, sends them packing, and turns face in the process. Captain Lou consoling George the Animal Steels. Consoling him right into the bosom.
I don't get what it was with the 80s and having wrestlers' whole gimmicks be, I'm just a stupid grown man. Like, I'm just dumb as shit. Because the way Lou was like, just, grabbing him like a mother and like a baby bird. Like, I'm like, this is a grown ass man. that was so funny.
Oh God!
But Mean Gene tries to interview Nick because again he's in the entrance, so everyone has to pass by him. So he tries to interview them, and no surprise, because they're in the exit.
Yeah.
George Steele catches up to them, and they start brawling. Great segment altogether.
Yes, we go to commercial. When we return, it is time for Piper's Pit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is Piper's Pit with Paul Orndorff.
And Bob Orton.
Yes, Bob Orton is there, of course, the bodyguard of Roddy Piper. Mm-hmm. Still donning the cast, of course.
I think, what was it, like 30 years now?
At least, yes.
It takes a long time for an arm to heal.
A decent amount of time, especially when you're a wrestler.
Come on.
We'll see later on how much that fucking arm gets beat. There's no wonder that it took him so goddamn long.
I don't know, maybe just putting the cast and still wrestling is kind of like, a dead giveaway, but maybe who knows?
But Piper wants to talk to Orndorff about the loss at WrestleMania.
This whole segment was fucking hilarious.
Take us through it, John. Tell us how you felt.
Loved this segment. So we cut to the ring. Mm-hmm. Piper and Paul are sitting down in the chair.
Yes.
Piper puts his arm around Paul and he says, "Hey, let's talk about what happened at WrestleMania, man to man." But Paul, he gets up. He's like, No. Bob Orton needs to get in the corner. I don't trust you. I don't trust nothing that's going on.
That's right.
Bob needs to get in the corner.
Yes.
And for some reason, Roddy Piper just starts screaming at him, "Just sit down."
Enraged.
Just sit down and let's talk about this. And then he gets up. He's like, "You know what, Bob? Go in the corner. I'm going to be fine." And he's like, "All right." Bob's in the corner. "Now just sit down, Paul." Like, he's begging Paul to sit down. Finally, Paul sits down. He's like, "You know what? Fine, let's talk about this about men."
After he said ladies first.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was a classic line. He's like, "I'll sit," but they sit down.
Yes.
And then after everyone's calm, in like the first 5 seconds, Roddy Piper calls him a loser.
That's right. That's right.
After he finally gets this man to calm down, he's sitting down in the chair. The first thing he says is like, "Man, you're a loser." You're a loser.
Yeah, he's the guy that got his shoulders pinned at WrestleMania.
And, Paul, of course, in rage, he gets back up. Mm-hmm. And this makes Roddy lose it. He's like, "Just sit down, man." I almost turned off my computer. And that was like, this man was losing his shit. He's like, "Just sit down, man. Come on."
I love how this was the whole crux of the promo. Like, it's just about him wanting to sit him down so that he can insult him some more.
Because, Paul being the bigger man, he sits down again. He's like, "All right, let's have this conversation."
Yes.
Once Roddy gets him to sit down, he's like, "You disappointed your family."
You disappointed your family. You're nothing but a piece of garbage, man. And Paul Orndorff was one of like the greatest comebacks that I've ever heard. He's like, "You've been drinking too much of your own bathwater," right? And like Bob Orton tries to advance on him at one point. Yep. Paul Orndorff says, "You stay," and then Piper stands up. It's like, "Sit, you sit." And Piper sits, and then he gets even angrier again. Like, this is pure comedy.
This was pure madness. Comedy.
Yes.
This was absolute madness. This was the greatest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Finally, it comes to a head. Piper feigns that he's going to leave.
Yeah.
Says, "That's enough. If you're not going to be civil, I'm getting out of here." Tries to throw a punch. Orndorff says, "No. Bup, bup, bup." Takes down Orton, goes for a pile driver on Roddy Piper, who's wearing actual tighty whities. But Bob Orton saves him with the cast to the back of the dome.
Yep.
Mr. T comes to the aid of Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, and cooler heads seem to prevail for now.
That was such a fun segment. That was such Roddy trying to calm Paul Orndorff down,
yes,
just so he can insult him some more. It's fucking just perfect. It's just fucking perfect.
The best. Back at the entranceway with Hulk Hogan, he's gonna be doing it for his mother, brother. All right.
I was gonna bring that up.
he's dedicating this match to his mother because it's nearly Mother's Day.
Yeah. I think didn't Mother's Day pass, and this was.
It might have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when Mother's Day was in this day and age. What I know is that he's doing it for his mother, brother. All right, and now it is time for the World Championship match number 2. Hulk Hogan defending against Cowboy Bob Orton. They look not the worse for wear at all, having just been in a brawl with Paul Orndorff.
Because that I found fucking funny too. That like after the brawl, they kind of just have to stay in the ring,
act like they're fine relatively, just warm up for the match. Mr. T shows back up at ringside, taking off his shirt, revealing that ripped physique.
Yep,
indeed. It's a brawl to start.
Yeah,
Bob Orton doesn't even get his chaps off yet. And he's getting the clotheslines, he's getting slam after slam after slam, and finally
Hogan him with like 6 slams back to back.
Yeah, and Paul Orndorff can't handle it anymore. He powders out, gets the chaps off, and now he's ready for business. Tries to run at Hogan, but instead gets rammed into the steel post, in which case Hulk Hogan, like a fucking vicious heel, decides to work the casted arm. He bites Orton. Yes, he bites Orton on the top of the head, and Vince McMahon denies that he does it.
Which is so, because that's never been part of his moveset. I'm like, why did you choose this moment for it to do this?
What is going on? Hogan takes this time to smash Orton's arm off the steel post. He is after this arm, destroying it. So,
but then Orton hits him with just the beautiful flying knee.
Exactly.
I didn't even know he could jump that high, but he hits him with a beautiful fucking flying knee.
Indeed, and Orton takes control at this moment. It is an atomic drop by Cowboy Bob, but it is a near fall. Piper is absolutely fucking apoplectic at ringside. At ringside, he is going berserk during this match. Anytime Cowboy Bob does anything, a knee to the skull, a forearm to the back of the head, Piper is like, pin him!
And it was so confusing too, because Bob would go for the pin, but Roddy would be banging on the side of so you would confuse it with the rest count, and I'm like, why would you do this?
Piper is just unbelievable. Bob working Hulk Hogan over for a long old time, but Hulk Hogan finally begins to Hulk up, baby. And then Hogan with a big clothesline and an elbow drop, but it is a near fall. Bob Orton then uses the atomic drop once again in order to get out of the 10-punch spot. And he is back in control. He sets up for the superplex. And if he hits the superplex, it's game over. Game over.
Back in those days, that was like the most deadliest move ever.
Absolutely, yes. But Hogan fights out of it, drops an elbow from the top rope, and then follows it up with the big Hulk Hogan leg drop of doom. But Roddy Piper hits the ring, hits Hulk Hogan. It is a DQ.
He just fucking decks Hogan in the face.
He does. Mr. T gets in. It is a brawl between the 4, but it quickly turns into a 2-on-1 between Piper, Bob Orndorff. They attack Mr. T. They go to attack Hulk Hogan, but who shall arrive?
The man who probably didn't even leave ringside.
Not at all. Probably was just sitting down. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff hits the ring. It is now 3-on-2. This is a travesty of justice. Piper and Orndorff hit the hay. Yes. What did you think of that match?
I liked it.
Yes.
I liked it very. I thought it was going to be a squash match, but Bob was able to get it in a couple moves. So far in the show, I'm loving. This is supposed to be a punishment pay-per-view. And like by this point in the paper, I'm like, am I watching the right fucking show? Because this is great so far. Like, I'm loving it.
I'm glad that you're loving it. Backstage with well, not backstage again. I keep we're practically in the seats.
Yeah.
It is Mean Gene with the fabulous Moolah.
Oh yeah, this was the part where I was kind of like, this was weird. This was dumb.
This was what I was waiting for.
Oh my god.
Moolah says that she's going to win back the title and she's going to keep it forever this time.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper is barred from ringside.
Yeah, Moolah went to the WWF
Head
higher
voters.
ups.
Yes.
They gave her a paper instead of telling the ref. They just handed her a paper and was like, "Yo, just show this." and
it's a scroll.
It's a. I'm like, it's the 80s, not the fucking. It was so weird. They gave her a scroll, like, and she's supposed to hand this to the officials before the match starts.
Like an official decree.
What the
fuck? Yes, Gene points out that it is 28 years as champion the first time from Fabulous Moolah. Yes, very possible that it could be another long reign for Moolah. Mm-hmm. Shall she win tonight?
And then we cut to Cyndi and Wendy. Mm-hmm. And they're basically reacting to what Moolah said.
That's right.
And Cyndi said, "Hey, I don't care about that paper. I'm going to still show up because I'm her manager."
That's right. That's right.
Which is, again, just another great logic by Cyndi.
And she's talking about how Moolah gets involved in all the matches. Mm-hmm. Her and Leilani Kai, they get involved. They're pulling the hair. They're attacking us. You remember what happened at Wrestling Mania? You remember what happened at Wrestling Mania, Gene? So I'm going to be there for my gal because I'm a manager. These bunch of fucking country trailer park trash women.
So then,
oh my god.
So then Moolah comes out. She she has her paper and everything.
That's right.
And Cyndi and Wendy come out, and the fans are going fucking insane for Cyndi. They're trying to rip her like clothes off. That shit, she got a bigger reaction than Hogan.
Yes.
That was incredible. I've never seen a crowd like that.
Yeah, they're trying to tear her limb from limb.
Fam, they loved this lady.
Yes, Wendy is making her entrance with Cyndi Lauper, managing to forage through the jungle of the fans.
The savages.
Yes, until they finally make it to the ring, in which case Cyndi Lauper is promptly sent back.
I don't know what she thought was going to happen. Moolah has a scroll.
She has a scroll. She has an official decree.
So, after everyone makes their entrance, Howard Finkel reads and he's like, "Yeah, you got to go to the back."
And she doesn't even go all the way to the back. She goes to the entranceway with everyone else.
Yeah.
Sitting with a monitor to watch the match that she can probably see from about 15 feet.
Yeah, she's like, should I turn slightly to my left and watch this live? Or watch this on the smallest monitor ever created?
She chose the latter. Yes, so the match gets underway. Moolah using a foreign object to attack Wendy Richter. Mm-hmm. Moolah tosses out Wendy and taunts. She puts the double bicep. Right, this old woman.
Yeah, she was way past her prime. There was nothing there. There was no muscle.
Many would say she was never in her prime. Needless to say, though, she delivers one stiff-ass kick to Wendy Richter.
Oh yeah, no, she's using all the heel tactics, eye rakes, choking her with the ropes.
Yep. She goes to taunt the crowd a little bit. Wendy Richter takes this moment to drop kick and send Moolah over the top.
That was a crazy ass drop kick too.
Back in now, but Moolah no-selling it and just backdrops Wendy Richter. Goes for a near fall, doesn't happen. Wendy and Moolah here. So this is the deal, is that these ladies hate each other.
Yeah.
Like IRL hate each other.
Mhm.
So neither one of them are selling anything that the other one is doing.
Yeah, you can notice once Wendy drops kicks
Yeah.
a 80-year-old lady off the top rope to the ground, and she just like, okay,
Just
well,
gets back up.
let's get back in there.
Yeah, they do like the pull off the rope spot where
Yeah.
they do like the woo,
Yeah.
boom.
That was dumb.
Moolah doesn't even sell that. She just gets back up. They
And
do
then
it
they
again.
do it again.
It's a near fall. This is a fucking terrible match. The goes for a body slam, does the fabulous Moolah, but it gets reversed into the small package and picks up the win.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper comes racing.
Even in the 80s, women only got like 5 minutes
Only
tops.
got a couple minutes. Cyndi Lauper comes racing back down, trying to celebrate, and then gets slapped in the fucking face.
This whole show was just chaotic.
She gets...
This entire show was so fucking chaotic.
She's running, and she gets slapped. She gets slapped in the face, and then you can see that it's actually really upset her, and she's really angry, and she's still walking, and then someone pulls her hair before the security can get.
Because on her entrance, security's right beside her, but when Wendy won, she kind of outran the security, which was a bad idea.
She paid for it.
Oh my god.
Oh my...
You have security for a reason. Don't outrun your security.
So she gets in the ring and they celebrate for a little bit. Oh my god. Oh yeah.
And even on the way back, you can tell that she's
so pissed.
She was
like,
very
she was
angry.
Done.
Yeah.
She does not like the wrestling fans. This is one of, if not the last appearances of Cyndi Lauper. And if we could, for just a brief moment, talk about the Rock and Wrestling connection and how pivotal Cyndi Lauper was, as well as Mr. T. For getting the Rock and Wrestling connection started. Cyndi Lauper was at the time the biggest pop star, launching off the back of MTV. The birth of MTV was a huge thing for her, and girls just want to have fun, which is something that Lou Albano was a part of. And
he was even in the video and all that.
That's right, yes, and that merger together really kickstarted a lot of things. She did a huge amount in order to help the WWF with mainstream credibility, as much as Mr. T did, if not more so. The Rock and Wrestling connection is incredible, and it was so pivotal in the WWF to get that boom period.
That's like the early stages of sports entertainment, as you would say.
Yes.
That's like the very early stages of that.
Yes. And it literally is, because it jumpstarts away from that wrestling.
Exactly.
Which you would have seen, actually, for the most part, at WrestleMania and just a little bit before then.
Yeah.
And then the slow transition, thanks to Saturday Night's Main Event as well.
Yeah. It went from, wrestling to big names, big colors, and it's more of like, okay, let's focus on the entertainment aspect than the actual wrestling.
Absolutely. And just before we move on here, and sticking with Wendy and Moolah and how much they hate each other, I did ask you before we started the podcast episode if you knew anything about Wendy Richter and the Spider Lady.
No, I have no idea what the Spider Lady is.
The Spider Lady. The Spider Lady is a wrestler.
Okay.
A female wrestler.
Okay.
And they would eventually have a match.
I think I know what you're talking about
the Spider
now.
Lady.
I think I know.
And it's known as the original Screwjob.
Yeah, there we go. I just never knew that was her name, but okay, I got you.
Yes, indeed.
I got you.
Yes, this was when Moolah screwed Wendy Richter out of the women's title, was unmasked to the Spider Lady in order to be, in fact, The Fabulous
The
Moolah.
Fabulous Moolah.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes, these women have a deep-seated hatred, and I just thought that nugget of information was nice to share.
Well, I never knew what the wrestler, because it's been so long that everyone just knows it's Moolah.
Yes.
So I never knew that she actually went with a fake name and everything.
Yes, indeed.
She committed to the bit.
Yes.
I like it.
Back at the entrance ramp with JYD and his mama.
Yep.
Yes, Mama has never been to New York. JYD wishing everybody a happy Mother's Day. And his mother's name is Bertha.
Yeah. Old Southern name. You don't see no Berthas anymore.
No,
that's an old Southern name.
That's a very biscuits and grits lady.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Very poor on the streets.
But I'm proud of everybody, because this could have gone left. And I'm proud that, even in the 80s, we were like, yo, you know what? Let's not go left. Let's keep this train on the tracks here. So I was like, hey,
keeping
good
this
shit.
Train on the tracks with the Duke of Dorchester, Pete Doherty.
Who is now my favorite wrestler.
With the Junkyard Dog accompanied by his mama.
Yeah. So a weird moment happened at the beginning, because Junkyard Dog is coming in the ring with a chair.
Yes. And
the ref stops him. He's like, you can't come in here with the chair.
No chair, sir.
Takes the chair and he uses it to sit his mom down.
Yeah.
And I think also Jesse Ventura had the same question, which was he gonna sit his mom inside the ring? What the fuck? What was happening there? So I'm glad that me and Jesse were on the same page on that one.
The Junkyard Dog is hot to start off with the clotheslines, the headbutts. Pete Doherty is trying desperately to attack Bertha.
Junkyard Dog throws him outside, and he does like the swinging motion.
He takes a swing. He's going for Mama. He's going for Bertha. Pete screams like a bitch when the Junkyard Dog is pulling on his hair.
Yeah.
Hysterical. And then another headbutt by the Junkyard Dog. Pete Doherty is selling his ass off.
He's great.
Bumping around like no one's business with the Junkyard Dog. JYD is not even breaking a sweat. JYD is barely moving.
But Pete is making him look like a fucking world eater there.
He is. He's selling like a madman. The JYD hits an atomic drop. He also hits the thump, which is the power slam in order to finish it off. It's an easy win for the Junkyard Dog. Very much a showcase match a la the Superstars. JYD and Bertha
get a little dance.
Get a little dance on. They do a little dancey dance.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a Mother's Day celebration,
ladies
and gentlemen. And speaking of which, we had officially, for the first time, backstage.
Yeah. So we go backstage. Cindy's throwing a Mother's Day party.
That's right.
And, we got JYD with his mom.
That's right.
Then we go to Fred Blassie.
Oh, no. We go to the Iron Sheik.
Oh, yeah.
And Nikolai Volkov. And I have the audio. Listen to this shit.
Don't look all that happy. Tag team champions, the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov.
You know, Jimmy, I'm sick and tired about Sandy Lauper and that fat Lou Albano, because how far is it from here to Town Arena?
10,000 miles.
God bless you. For this reason, she sent a very good invitation too late. I wish I can have him in the ring so I can slam him.
Please, gentlemen, be straight.
You know, my mother lived in Moscow, Russia, and Cindy Lauper thinking my mother can fly on the broom like her mother. She gave me the invitation today.
Very good. I thank you, Nikolai Volkov.
It is the most bonkers thing that I've ever heard in my life. He didn't give me the chance to give the ticket, and I can't even get them from Soviet Russia. Russia #1.
My mom's in Russia.
Yeah.
How is she throwing a party expecting my mom to... I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Why are you even here? They're the only heels.
And they're the only ones who felt their mothers.
No.
I'm like,
why are they there?
And then you know the Iron Sheik, they're both like really menacing guys, but then the Iron Sheik just has like this little pink cup in his hands. Oh, this whole show was so fucking chaotic.
So then we go to Fred Blassie.
And Fred Blassie's there with a girl who's probably in her mid-20s to be generous.
Yes.
And, you know...
Well, easy now. If you're being generous with 20, then you're saying that she's 18. Let's go easy now.
Listen, I don't know how women looked back in the day, but she was mad young.
Easy now.
But anyways, Mean Gene asks him, who's this lady? And Fred's like, this is my mother, Laura.
She looks pretty good, don't she? Don't she look good? And then Gene Okerlund, without missing a beat, tries to hit on her.
Tries to kiss her. He leans in, like he just learned this woman's name. And just starts leaning in for the kiss.
Ready to mac.
What the fuck was the show?
Honestly. Hulk, Cindy with their mamas, respectively. Cindy, Wendy Richter is just there, very much just getting the rub off of Cindy here. And then Moolah crashes the party, starts dissing on Cindy's mom hard. Talking about how she's created a scarecrow woman.
Oh my god.
Or whatever the hell he's from or she's from or whatever. And you know for a fact that I should be the woman's champion right now. And you're not giving me the time of day. I'm going to get my victor. I raised better kids than you. I got a granddaughter. I got a daughter.
Oh my god.
Madness.
Also, one thing I totally forgot to mention with the women's match, now that we're talking about Wendy and Moolah.
Yes.
They called the championship the Ladies Heavyweight Championship.
They did.
What the fuck was the 80s? I swear this whole show everyone was on acid or something when they were writing it. This was fucking madness.
Very different time.
Because after Moolah goes on that whole tirade about, you know, just being a better mother and all that.
Yeah.
Cindy, they get in a brawl. She pushes Wendy into the cake. Moolah into the cake, which also takes down Mean Gene. And they're both covered in cake. And as Mean Gene's like, hey, Moolah, what have you got us into? Cindy just fucking nails Moolah with a piece of cake. And you can see Moolah was not happy about that shit. And Cindy just fucking runs out the door. I'm not sure what that cake was made out of, because that cake didn't break. It didn't bend.
It's a brick.
That was a brick. She just nails Moolah with that fucking piece of cake, man.
Absolutely. Moolah falls over. She no-sold the cake.
Of course.
Back to Jesse and Vince that says so long from Saturday night's main event, and there you have it. Oh my god. So let's get into it. Match of the night, standout star. And the show rating overall, Jono. What do you have for
God damn. Match of the night, Hogan Orton.
Okay.
That was the only one that could be even called a match.
All right, fair enough.
Standout star, it has to be Pete.
Gotcha.
Pete was amazing. I love Pete. The palest human being I've ever seen.
Yeah. And the show rating out of 5.
Holy shit. Probably like a 4.5, 4.7. Listen, because these shows are supposed to be punishment matches or whatever. So I was coming in expecting a train wreck, especially 80s, 85, the first episode of a show.
Yep.
And I think I told you
on
the network, I saw like the first 3 episodes, and just from the thumbnails, I'm like, oh my god, these are gonna be the worst things ever.
Yes.
So I was expecting this to be like the lowest of the low, but I ended up having a fucking blast.
Wonderful.
This shit was entertaining from start to finish. Roddy killed everyone. Was fucking amazing. Even Moolah and Wendy, who were not at their best,
Yeah.
was still entertaining to watch. Like
Yeah.
that whole shit was fucking great. So if you haven't watched it, go. It's like an hour.
It is.
It's
It
fucking
was a
great.
fucking breeze to get through.
Oh my god.
Absolutely wonderful. Yes.
But your ratings now?
Indeed, yes. Match of the night, I'm actually going to go with the six-man tag.
Fair
I
enough.
think they did a very fast pace. I really enjoyed it, despite the finish, which was just bonkers nonsense. My standout star is fucking Moolah.
Listen, sometimes there's beauty in the chaos, man.
It was a train wreck. It was a goddamn train wreck.
But if you can make the train wreck entertaining,
Oh
then
my god! Like she was I was roaring when I was looking at Moolah. Unbelievable. And show rating, yeah, nostalgia be damned. Rose tinted goggles. This is a 5-star fucking show. Outright, downright. This was so much fucking fun.
This is a
not
fun,
only
fun
watching, but reviewing this with you was an absolute blast. Half of this was a punishment. It really was. But half of this was taking a trip down memory lane and just feeling like this would be a great thing to do. And I'm so glad that we did it.
No, I'm very happy because if it weren't for the punishment, I probably would have never seen this show. So I'm very glad because this is definitely one that if I have like kids who are into wrestling, I'm gonna pop this in the TV and be like, look at this fucking madness. Look at this chaos.
It was absolutely wonderful. And I have a question for you, John.
Oh my god.
Given the time that we just had together with this show, do you wish to explore more of Saturday night's main event?
Oh, I know it's gonna be downhill from here, but I love 80s wrestling. So, you know, if I get at least one good match out of it, I would probably watch it.
Bring it on.
Especially since all the shows are like an hour.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned.
Oh my god.
Because we will at some point in the future be chipping away at the Saturday night's main event legacy. KJ Johnson and Just John going colossal tussling all Saturday night long. Absolutely. But until then, all right, we've got a little bit of 90s wrestling to get back into.
Yeah, we gotta go back into the Rock Austin.
Exactly. And we're going to be heading back with next week's episode being Capital Carnage.
Yeah.
Our first trip to the UK, our first trip across the pond, John.
Yeah, since we were just talking about it in the news segment,
Exactly.
so you know,
yeah, we're gonna be flying over to London, and we're gonna have our first live podcast there in London, and we're gonna catch Capital Carnage. It's gonna be a great time, right, John?
I'm excited. I'm excited for the show.
Gonna get some tea and some crumpets.
Oh my.
That's what we're gonna do. All the great UK things. Yes, we're going to take a trip with Capital Carnage, then we're hitting rock bottom and everything in between. So exciting! What an amazing time we are going to have with this podcast in the next month or so. I'm looking forward to it. We hope that you have enjoyed it, friends. Another great edition of the Colossal Tussle podcast. You can follow us on all the great things. I'm going to let Big Just John handle it. Give us the details, my friend.
Follow us on Twitter, the Colossal Tussle 1. Follow us on YouTube at the Colossal Tussle. Subscribe. Do all those cute things
That's right.
they tell you to do.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, you can find us on Spotify, in which you subscribe so that you never miss an episode.
Yes, follow, hit the little bell. That way, if you're ever like, when is the next episode?
Yeah.
Your phone's going to ring and be like, hey, here it is.
It's going to do a bloop, bloop.
And then you just click on that and you get to hear our soothing voices.
Angelic voices. Absolutely. You can follow us individually on Instagram. I am at Director KJ, and you are
Faraon36, that's Fareon 36.
That's right. And we're going to be a bit more, public with our community going
We have
forward.
to. Yeah,
Yes,
we
we're
have
going to
to.
get on the Twitters.
We gotta
we're
show
gonna
you guys
get
some
on
love.
the Instagrams. We're going to really share the love, and we're going to support all of us, together in this fight in Canadian independent love and podcasting and wrestling.
That's it.
That's what it's all about. So we hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Colossal Tussle Podcast. Tune in to episode 9. If it's anything like WrestleMania 9, we're fucked.
Thought you're gonna have a cool slogan to send us off on.
No. I gotta percolate that until next week, brother. Gotta percolate that till next week, brother. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Yes, but until then, we are out.